Soccer, it's what we live and breathe. Anxiety and stressfulness kind of go up and down because of the atmosphere that American football has. Seeing how the whole stadium goes, Gabriel Milan for the touchdown. It builds you as a person, obsessed with how I'm tracking things, a passion for fitness, one of my biggest memories. I wish I could have said the marathon, but once I hit miles 16, 17, reality set in. I am not finished. We need to go to the hospital because body was basically consuming itself.
Honestly, just start. Yeah. .2, a podcast powered by Drip. Hi everyone, welcome to 26.2. My name is Karishma and I'm the founder and CEO of Drip, and I'm here with a close friend from college, Gabe, to talk about fitness. Would love for you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so Gabriel Milan, originally from Colombia, South America. Moved to the U.S. when I was 15, where I finished high school in a small town, Tennessee. Moved to Chicago for college. And then now working in international finance, international business here in the city. So nice little brief background about me.
That's awesome. So many follow-ups. What was that like initially, kind of moving from Colombia, going to high school in a small town in Tennessee? Was there culture shock? How was like assimilating and kind of building a life here?
Great question. I think as for any immigrant that comes to the U.S., there's a big adjustment curve.
Yeah.
I think the positive part of at least my experience is that I was young, and when you're young, you're usually very quickly to adapt and get integrated into the culture. I do feel very lucky that it was in a small town of nowhere, Tennessee, because I was forced to learn English and I didn't know any of it.
Yeah.
And so I think I was able to learn the language really easy. I was able to kind of get out of my comfort zone because, it's a different culture and everything. So I think it made me the person that I am today, where for my job I can talk to different cultures and people from different languages, and the conversation can literally just be this. So
Yeah. No, it's awesome. You're super personable, and it definitely shows that you kind of went through that. Why Chicago?
So my dad was a college teacher, and so for us to move here to the U.S., his job was a small community college in Tennessee. And of course, we wanted to get out of the small town. In Colombia, we're from a bigger city.
Yeah.
And so he found out a teaching job here in Chicago. My dad moved here and I wanted to finish high school. I, of course, teenager, had my friends.
Yeah.
I started playing football, so I got really into the Tennessean football culture, and I didn't want to leave that. So my dad moved here to Chicago to teach with my younger siblings. I decided to stay back, but once I finished that, my dad was like, okay, you need to move to the city. You need to you need to go to college and get educated, get out of this small town. That's the reason why Chicago. I mean, I think it was mostly because my family was already here. Yeah.
It was a nice segue in too, and kind of building on the community you already had. What did you study at Loyola? How did you end up in a finance career, and what kind of prompted that?
Yeah, so my dad is a physics teacher.
Very different.
Yes, my family are very science-oriented. Sister's a doctor. My older brother he also studied physics. And so I wanted to do something with physics related, and math was kind of like my strong suit. At first, I wanted to do engineering. My dad was like, well, you can do other things. Maybe that will drive a little bit more money. He told me to look into business, so I started looking into business and realized that I actually liked it a lot more. And so while finance, because it had numbers, I think I wanted to have the numbers aspect of it. I'm very analytical from that sense. So I decided to do business at Loyola. And then I went to live 1 year abroad in Beijing, China. And so when I was there, I was like, okay, I think I want to do international business. This is like my strong suit. I like working with different cultures and people from different backgrounds. So I think that was my moment kind of early on.
So you did like the study abroad program in Beijing from
Yeah.
Loyola too.
Yeah.
You must have had like so much different exposure because I think I was on the off semester and I did like Rome, but it was insane how much exposure you get to like local communities and like professors that were there that are able to like kind of be your mentor throughout that too.
Yeah.
Do you still do like international work in finance right now?
Yeah, I literally every day I get on a call with clients from different countries. So they're mostly Latin America. I think I work with clients that are in Argentina, Colombia, Mexico. I manage the Caribbean, so you get
like
to see
everything.
all those different cultures, and it's really exciting. So I get to put my background to use, and that's the part that I enjoy the most about my job. And today I got on a call with the Brazilian clients, and hey, we beat you guys in soccer last night, so hello.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's always a good time.
Speaking of soccer, segueing in, I know you've been a part of so many different sports since I've known you. Let's like talk to me about like fitness too. Going way back, what was like the first sport you ever played? How did you get involved in the fitness world? And what are you doing today?
Yeah, so of course, being from Colombia, soccer it's what we live and breathe. I feel like that that's kind of like you were raised. You see your parents, especially like my uncle and dad, and you see their anxiety and stressfulness kind of go up and down as they're watching the game when things are going well and when things are going bad.
Sounds like the stock market.
Yes, exactly. That's literally what it is. So I grew up playing soccer, I think since the age of 3, probably, if not before. So I've been playing soccer my whole life. In Colombia, I try to dab into other sports, but the popularity is nowhere near. So I think it wasn't until I moved here to the U.S. that, especially Tennessee, soccer, of course, is no longer big. And a way that I integrated into the culture was through, okay, what sport do they like, and can I learn it and compete? So, of course, American football was the big one there. Basically, this whole town shuts off for Friday nights high school football games because of the atmosphere that American football has in the South. I think my best memories come from there. I was a wide receiver, so my very first touchdown playing varsity as a junior, catching it in the end zone and just seeing how the whole stadium goes just ballistic. It was a shock to me. Everything happened so fast that once kind of the reality set in, it was one of the happiest moments.
Oh, that's awesome.
And just seeing everybody just be super excited and happy, and hearing your name, Gabriel Milan, for the touchdown, and you're just kind of like, wow, okay, this happened. Outside of being a receiver, of course, because of the soccer background, I was also a kicker. And beating our rivals, which was another high school that was like 30 minutes away, kicking a field goal to win the game and beating the rivals for like the first time in like 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
That was a very special moment. Like those two, I don't think I'll ever forget those. So I think it was in high school playing football in Tennessee that I kind of understood my passion for fitness. Not only do you practice, but you hit in the gym, you're on the track working on getting speed and faster and agility. In the South, in the summer, it's 2-a-days on a 90-degree weather. And you're just constantly just practicing, and it builds character, it builds you as a person.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I know Loyola definitely was not a football school, but we had like different clubs. How did you integrate fitness in your life as a college student first moving here?
Yeah. So one was I joined all these sports clubs at Loyola. So mostly I want football, of course. I wanted to keep that going because I think football is one of those sports that once you're done in high school, it's pretty much done. Nothing is ever the same. I think you can go and play soccer or basketball throughout, especially in a big city like Chicago, I think football really does 100% change because you're used to just being in a locker room. Just the time that it takes you to put the equipment on and you sit there talking to your teammates, all that is gone. You don't even play with an equipment on out here. You play flag, right? So that's completely gone. And so I wanted to somehow keep that life going. And so I joined the football club at Loyola. I tore my ACL there. So I got injured there like on the second year playing for them. But again, it was nowhere near the same. It is very different. It's a lot more toned down. Of course, all of us have school to worry about and grades. So I think through that is how I kept my fitness goals, my fitness ambition going. And of course, I also always kept playing soccer. I play for a traveling team here in Chicago called Green and White. I play for like multiple traveling teams in the city. There's plenty.
That's awesome.
So I kept soccer playing that way. And that's how I think I kept it going. I think sports was a big part of it. And then out of that, I dab into other things like running the marathon or, just running out with friends, building like your own discipline, running and working out. So I think that's where it all kind of come from.
Yeah. Speaking of marathons too, what prompted that? Because obviously you're playing these sports that like you have high intensity running, but it's not distance running. So always like asking what prompts someone, and I'm so guilty of this, but what prompts someone to willingly pay to run 26.2 miles? And what was that experience like too? Start to finish.
I think so. I wish the marathon was. I wish like when you asked me what are one of my biggest memories.
Yeah.
I wish I could have said the marathon, but it's the opposite. It was actually one of those memories where it didn't go well for me.
Oh gosh.
So let me put it this way. What prompted it? So what prompted it was that I had some friends that were running it. And they were like, hey, when we're going to run the Chicago Marathon, you can either pay to run or you can raise money for a nonprofit. So I took the raise money for a nonprofit. So it was one of the nonprofit here in the west of Chicago where they help homeless Latino people get housing. Yeah. And so I signed up to raise, I think it was $1,000 or $1,200, somewhere in there. So I raised that money to be able to run. My mistake there was that I didn't prepare properly, right? So, and I should know better being an athlete. Like you don't go to the football field and just, run a play. You have to prepare. We watch film. We study what the other team is doing. And for some reason, I feel like since I'm always working out, I'm always playing soccer, that I always feel like that I was ready, that I don't have to train. I can just train a little bit and I'll be fine. So the most I ever ran prior to a marathon was 14 miles. And I did that like 2 months before, and I only ran that one time. And anything before that was like 8 miles maybe.
So you get to the 20-mile long run.
Exactly.
So I winged it at that point.
Exactly what I did, right? So it wasn't until, this is the funny part. When I first started running the marathon, I think those first 10 miles felt a breeze. Felt really easy.
Adrenaline, right? Because of the city.
Exactly. You spot on. It is the adrenaline. It's literally like you're seeing everybody and you're
so happy and smiling.
Exactly. So those first 10 miles, I was like, oh, I'm going to crush this.
Yeah.
Once I hit miles 16, 17, reality set in. So I remember I was, of course, I got the football legs. So I remember mile 17, I was like, holy shit, I cannot pick up my legs.
Oh, no.
I felt like I was carrying weights. And so it got into one of those things where I was like, all right, maybe let me just jog half, walk half. And so I started doing that.
So you walked like last 10 miles?
Like the next 5 miles. Okay. So I got to mile 20, 21. And I realized I was feeling very, very, almost sick, right? Like But again, I had that competitive mentality, and I was like, I am not finished.
Yeah.
But then I started looking back. I think it was in mile 22, 23. And I look back and I saw the bus picking up people.
Oh no.
And at that point I was like, oh no, this is the most embarrassing, humiliating thing that could happen to me. I am not going. So for some reason, I don't know what happened there. I caught I don't know, maybe by this point it's like my fourth, fifth wind. And maybe it was pride, maybe it was competitiveness. And I was like, I'm going to finish this. So I did finish it. I finished it in like 2 minutes before the 6-hour mark. And I was very sick. I remember I got the medal. I went to see my mom. Everybody's congratulations. I was like, look.
About to vomit.
I was like, we need to go to the hospital because I'm not feeling well.
Oh, gosh.
So I went to the hospital and I had to stay there overnight because my body was basically consuming itself.
Oh my God.
Like they were saying like, okay, we need to keep you here. We need to hydrate you. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what the medical
dehydrated?
term. Yeah, I was like my body. There was no more water, so my
Yeah.
body started basically consuming muscle. And for me to even go pee was painful. Like it wasn't good.
Yeah.
And the doctor was like, okay, we need to hydrate you. You need to stay here overnight.
Oh
So
gosh.
it wasn't one of my best times, but it was one of those where reality set in and I'm like, okay, you gotta prepare, Gabriel. You know better. Like you deserve what you got because you knew you should have prepared.
gosh.
But it was humbling because I was also kind of, that was a cocky move, right? Like it was me saying I play sports and I do soccer and I run miles here and there, so I'm big and bad. So that happened, and I think ever since then, I want to run another marathon again. But even for me to do triathlons, which that has been my latest passion, is preparing fully.
Yeah.
Always being prepared, and just make sure that I adapt my training wherever
Yeah.
it is. So, I don't know, learning through error, I guess.
Yeah. I was going to say, when's the next one? Like, isn't a year gap between that?
Yeah. It's been.
Yeah.
I think since that experience, I was like, I think I'm a little bit traumatized, right? I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know if I can do 26 miles because.
You train with a group, though.
Yeah.
Ease into it, maybe.
Exactly. I
Don't
mean,
wing the race next time.
exactly. That's what I need to do. I think that, marathon takes a lot of preparation,
Yeah.
and so I would definitely prepare different, and I think I'll have a much better experience.
Yeah, for sure. I guess, like, just about that, like, reflecting upon, like, your marathon experience, how do you look at, like, measuring performance now? If it's, like, running, if it's for the triathlon that you have, like, kind of coming up, if it's in general, like, just going and lifting weights at the gym, do you track performance? Do you track progress? And how do you do that?
Yeah, I do. With sports, you usually track how you're performing by how many touchdowns you score and how many goals you score, right? Where in training, you try to measure it with how much you're lifting, how strong you're getting, what's your pace in a mile. And so I do track it that way, but I've become a little bit more obsessed with how I'm tracking things. So I have a Whoop tracker. I don't know if you heard of Whoop. Big fan of them because the way, it tracks your sleep and how much you recover.
Do you sleep with it, like, at night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the data that is able to show you, like, how deep was your sleep, what was your heart rate during your sleep. Like, I keep track of those things now. Yeah. So I try to be a little bit more intentional about the data in performing wise, right? Be more intentional about, is today a good day for me to actually go work out? Try to listen to myself and my body a little bit better. Like, maybe today I should rest, or I got a soccer game tonight, so maybe I shouldn't go work out this morning. I think that's a big problem of mine that
You do 2 or 3 days at the same
Yes,
time.
it's like I wake up really early, go and do some kind of workout at the gym, knowing that I got a soccer game at night, and then at the soccer game, some teammates are yelling at me because I'm getting tired towards the end. They're like, "We need you. Well, why are you so tired?" I was like, "Well, I worked out this morning." You dummy. Well, why are you working out? So
Everything in moderation.
Exactly, everything in moderation, not take the extremes. So I try to pay a lot of attention to that, and then when it comes to tracking it, I think that over time I've learned a lot on listening to what your body's telling you. I think that it's easy to sometimes kind of ignore and wanting to be a perfectionist or wanting to always keep yourself in some kind of level of discipline that you kind of ignore.
Yeah.
And so I think, yes, tracking is important, but more importantly is just being able to know when to, like, all right, you know what, today I should take the day off, I should relax, and then come back tomorrow. I think that's a bigger part that I've, I guess, gained the wisdom on now lately.
Yeah, that's awesome. What would you say to someone who either wants to run a marathon for the first time, wants to go lift weights for the first time, get into some sort of competitive soccer, football league, like now, like years later, kind of into their adult life, never done it before? What would you say to them kind of entering the world of fitness?
Yeah, I think my first advice is that with the level of education there is out there, I think a lot of people already follow some kind of fitness expert on the social media.
Yeah.
So I think my first advice would be for the person to admit to themselves that they have a pretty decent level of knowledge.
Yeah.
You're probably not an expert. The average person like me is not the expert, but we understand ourselves better than we think we do. And so I think that would be my first advice, right? Just listen to what you already know. Listen what you know about yourself. You already know what you like, what you don't like. Maybe you're a person that, maybe likes to jog 2 to 3 miles rather than go hit a gym. Or maybe you're the person that actually likes to go hit a gym and maybe do a bike. Just listen to what you already know. Be proud of yourself that you already have some kind of level of knowledge, and start there. I don't believe in going all in and I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m. because it's hard to maintain long term.
Yeah.
You already know the level of commitment that you can put in, and so you can actually start yourself and then slowly and gradually, as you see fit, start bringing in the experts, because the experts really do help you not only to maintain that discipline, but to that next level. So whether that's getting a trainer or joining a gym that has a specific timeline for classes, those are very helpful. And so my first advice would definitely be that first step is more than you already know. You understand yourself better than you think you do. So start there and get the ball rolling. Let that be the snowball effect, right? Where like you start small, but once that snowball gets rolling, it's just gonna get bigger by itself. So that'd be my advice.
Yeah, that's so true, because I feel like the hardest part is literally just like starting, and I feel like people tend to like overplan, overthink too. But just like kind of sitting back and realizing that you have the tools and the people in your vicinity and kind of taking advantage of that too. Mm-hmm. And actually like asking for help. I think that can be sometimes daunting for people.
Yeah, so let me turn this question around on you. Like, what would be your advice?
Ooh, honestly, just start. Yeah, like same thing. Like just start. Like don't overplan, don't overthink. I'm also probably the worst example for this, just because the first time I signed up to do a half marathon, I did it 10 weeks before, and I literally went couch to half marathon. So I think just like if you have an instinct to start something, start, and then all the resources will kind of fall into place too. So super similar experience that you kind of had. Like I did the first one with Sammy, who she was like really involved in the fitness world, pulled me in, and then that's, long story short, didn't stop.
Yeah, exactly. And see, like, I feel like a lot of the goals tend to be aimed at things that we aren't necessarily fully aligned with. Like when I talk to friends, the goal is always like, oh, I want to lose weight, or I want to look this way, or I want to get ready for my wedding, or I want to get ready for the summer, which those goals are good. And I think in general, most of us want that and have those. But I don't know I don't think they're really truly sticky. I think what's really sticky is knowing yourself, and then just getting started and working with friends, somebody that's already doing it. Like that's what's sticky. And next thing you know, instead of you thinking like, oh my God, I need to lose this much weight, or oh my God, I need to look this way, which it can get kind of stressful at times.
Yeah.
That's not fun. What's gonna become fun is when you're out with your friends, or when you
Yeah.
getting it started and you're like, all right, I'm not beating myself up about losing 5, 10, 25 pounds. I'm actually just having fun because I'm getting this started. I think that's where the stickiness come from, and keeping those long-term goals. So spot on.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, doing a 208-mile relay, which I just pulled you into.
Yeah, exactly. So now it's like, all right, I've been running 4 to 5 miles with the pups, so maybe not. I should start looking into 8 to 10 for the next month, 2 months, and then and just keep going up.
Then you'll get to your next marathon. It won't be as traumatizing as the last
Exactly.
one.
That's the goal. That's the goal. I do plan on. I don't think 2024 I'm gonna do a marathon. I think I want to do like 2 or 3 triathlons. I want to do 1 half Ironman.
Okay.
And then 2025, I want to do maybe two half Ironmans, a marathon, and then either if I see that it's doable, do a full Ironman, or push it until 2026, because I do want to do an Ironman. I feel like that's like my next big challenge. That's what I want to aim for.
For those that don't know, what's the length of a half and full Ironman?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot. So I know that the full Ironman is, I believe it's a 3-mile swim.
Okay.
I know it's a full marathon, and I think you bike. I don't know if it's, I think it's somewhere along the range of like 80 or 120 mile bike. I'm not exactly sure what it is there. You put me on the spot.
Yeah.
Somebody check it, fact check me. But that's what a full Ironman is, right? So that takes a very, very high level of preparation. I have a really good friend of mine that has done it and done the full Ironman and done multiple of them.
That's insane.
He's the one that got me into the triathlon, and seeing what he has accomplished is like, wow, that is outstanding. I do wanna get there, and so that's gonna take a lot of time for me to prepare for. That's why I'm also being realistic, right? I know I'm not gonna do this next year, 2024. I know I'm not gonna be ready by 2025.
Like 2 years from now.
So I'm aiming like 2026. Let me be ready to crush one. I mean, maybe I could do one in 2025, depending on how I'm doing 2024. But I do know that it takes that kind of level of planning, and I want to make sure that I don't pull another marathon mistake. So I want to make sure I'm fully prepared. Yeah.
And you kind of answer this, but like, what's next?
I love Olympic lifting. I love playing soccer. I mean, that's never gonna go away. So I'm gonna continue playing a lot of soccer and continue my Olympic lifting, because through football, that's where I feel like a lot of my power and strength comes from, and I still want to be able to knock people off the ball when I'm playing soccer, so I'm gonna continue that.
Yeah. That's awesome. I can't wait to hear about it too next year.
Yeah, for sure. Keep you on the loop.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks again for taking the time. This is so much fun, and looking forward to keeping up to date with all your fitness activities next year.
No, thanks for having me. Always good to chat.
Yeah. Learn more about Drip at dripco.us and follow us on Instagram at dripwearable. We'll be back soon with a brand new episode.